Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if, Naruto x Kurenai x Tsunade x Yugito, part 2, hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. I do not own this fanfic, and also make sure to check out the author of this fanfic, Ten-Tailed Jockster, and support him for writing this awesome fanfic, link is in the description. So let's get into the video. The next morning, Naruto slowly cracked open his eyes as he was getting hit by the sun's annoying rays. He slowly gazed around the room before hearing a soft moan on top of him. He looked down to see a mass of black hair on his chest, and a familiar warm feeling down in his lower area. He would have rubbed his eyes if both weren't being preoccupied. One arm was trapped underneath the woman, while the other was holding the bottle of the strange alcohol from the night before. And that's when it hit him. Naruto Uzumaki, the champion of the Shai no Jimyu, had slept with one of Konoha's and probably Hai no Kuni's most beautiful and unfuckable women. A shit-eating grin came to his face as he relaxed back into the pillow. He shook the bottle and chuckled as he heard the sound of liquid in the bottle. He took a careful swig as Kurenai started to stir. She seemed to pause before slowly looking up to see a grinning Naruto. "Slept well," he said with a grin. She glared harshly at the blonde earning an eyebrow raise in confusion. "What? Something on my face. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't place you in where I'm cutting off your dick," she threatened with a low growl. The blonde shrugged as he took a sip from the bottle. "Well, I could give you a couple. One is that, unless they're super strong mostly from a demon and a powerful nin, won't and will not affect me. I don't know how, they just won't. Two is that you shouldn't act stupid. You know exactly what happened last night. We both do, we were not shit-faced drunk like how I planned to be. And finally 3, you fell asleep with me still in you after we for a couple of hours." He finished with a grin as Kurenai looked away from the blonde in shame. Naruto did an eye roll as he removed himself from Kurenai. "Oh come on, was I really that bad?" he said with a slight whine. The crimson-eyed Kunoichi blushed as she looked back at the now frowning blonde. "No, it's just that she started," and Naruto raised an eyebrow as he stood up from the bed showing. "Damn it, Anko. What the hell do you want?" Kurenai finally yelled with the blush on her face never fading. This just made Anko laugh harder and Kurenai huffed in anger and annoyance. Naruto yawned as he got up from the bed, and the laughter in the room immediately stopped. Now it was Kurenai's turn to giggle as she saw her best friend turn red as she gazed at Naruto's friend. Naruto sniffed the room and growled enough to break Anko out of her trance. "Unless you came in this room to get back to sleep, what can we do for you?" he asked in a low voice that actually caused both women to shiver in pleasure. He then looked Anko up and down before grinning. "Unless that was your plan all along." Anko gulped as she tried to think about why she was here in the first place. "Tsunade-sama sent me to get Night-chan. Apparently there's some evaluation." Naruto's eyes whitened before he looked at the clock on Kurenai's nightstand. "Shit. Training ground 7. Tsunade sighed in annoyance as her assistant giggled. "I hope Naruto-kan didn't pick up Kakashi-sen's tardiness," Shizune said as Tonton oinked happily in her arms. The bussy Hokage just rubbed her forehead as she thought back to her meeting with the whiskered male. "After seeing him, I wouldn't be surprised," she drawled out, and a bearded Konoha next to her chuckled as he took the drag from his cig. "I'm more surprised that Kurenai-chan is late," Sarutobi Asuma said with a small smile. "Yosh. Kurenai's flames of youth just haven't woken her up yet. If my flames of youth were ever to dull, I shall run 100 laps, no 200 300. I think we get it, guy." Asuma deadpanned as he tried not to laugh at Tsunade's twitching eyebrow. Just then a silver-haired nin with his nose deep within a certain book appeared in a poof of smoke. Asuma just grinned. "Well, someone came to the party early." The nin looked up briefly from his book before looking around and trying his best to avoid Tsunade's burning stare. "Where's Kurenai and Naruto?" "Late," Tsunade said through gritted teeth. "And would you please throw away that damn book?" Kakashi only scratched his hair. I would never imagine Kurenai being late." "Shut up already, Anko," came the yell from Kurenai as laughter from 2 people could be heard. The nins turned to see an interesting sight. A red-faced Kurenai was yelling at a grinning Anko who situated herself on Naruto's back. The blonde womanizer seemed to be laughing at whatever Anko had said, making Kurenai's blush darken. When they finally made up with the rest of the older nins, Anko removed herself from Naruto as Kurenai's blush decreased, but a slight red tint still remained on her cheek. "Nice for you to finally join us," Tsunade said with a light glare, and Naruto just chuckled. "You're not going to get an apology from me. Besides, I'm not late, guys are just early." The surrounding nins chuckled before a growl from Tsunade made them look away with a smile on their faces. "Alright, so what's this evaluation?" Tsunade cleared her throat. "It's just a little test to see where you are." Naruto just scratched his chest before looking around. "So I'm going to fight 4. He almost deadpanned and Tsunade almost felt a headache forming. "Like I said, brat, it's only to see how much you changed. If Tsunade didn't love Naruto as much as she did, he would probably get punched to the next town over. It's way too early for this bullshit." Naruto mumbled before giving Tsunade a pleading look. "Can't I just show you all the important shit, and we can skip the rest of this bullshit?" "Language, Naruto. Kakashi chuckled out as he finally looked up from his book to see his grown student give him a look of annoyance. And this is coming from the person who reads porn in public. The blonde then smirked. At least I learned how to get the real thing. Asuma and Enko laughed though for different reasons as Kurenai, and surprisingly Tsunade and Shizune blushed. Kakashi gave his student a surprised look as he started to stutter. Guy looked at Naruto with flames in his eyes. Kakashi, your student has out-hyped you. His flames of youth burned brightly. Guy all but yelled, which made Kakashi bow his head in defeat as a rain cloud appeared over his head. Naruto, satisfied with his response to his old sensei, looked back at Tsunade. So what do you say? I'm sure you're dying to get back to work, he said with a grin. Tsunade thought about it for a moment. Alright fine, you can show me what you learned during your time away, but one condition. Naruto raised a confused eyebrow, and what would that be? That you rejoin Team 7. She said, and Kakashi looked up from his book to take a glance at Naruto. Said blonde just chuckled as a mischievous grin came to his face. Really, that's it? I thought you were going to make me take you out for dinner. His eyes then ran up and down Tsunade's body. Though the idea does sound very nice. Well, that did it for everyone around Tsunade as they all burst out laughing. Tsunade blushed darkly before using her strength to punch Naruto, hoping to send the blonde idiot through a tree or two. The grin remained on Naruto's face as he took to the punch, but didn't move or flinch. Well damn, someone is feisty today. But then again, when are you not? He said calmly as Tsunade's fist remained on his cheek. Tsunade looked at him in surprise and shook as did the rest of the dot. As much as I love your hands, I think it's time for my evaluation, he said cheekily. Whatever, you damn brat. Tsunade mumbled as she took her fist away from his cheek. Just hurry up. Impatient are we? Hearing her growl, the blonde womanizer put his hands up in mock surrender. Okay, I'm done for now. His hands then went back to his side as he got a little serious. Well, as serious as he could. Alright, where to start? He mumbled to himself before sighing in irritation. Well, it's best to start from the beginning at least. After the oh-so-great battle with Mr. Kill Yourself, I had the unfortunate pleasure to meet the snake. Whoa, not yet, he said with a slight smirk as he saw Tsunade and Enko prepared to fire out questions. Anyways, it seemed to me that the failed retrieval team was too slow for the asshole, so he was prepared to meet them halfway. Well, most of them were dead, I believe, and our fight could be heard for miles. Also adding in the fact that I tapped into my resident Carpus chakra, the punk had all the reasons to be worried. Flashback. 4 years ago, Orochimaru crouched in between an unconscious Sasuke and a tired and injured Naruto. Well, Naruto-kun, I'm surprised you've held yourself for so long, he said with a smile that still managed to creep Naruto out. It's a perk of not being a fuckturd. The young blonde growled before foolishly charging at Orochimaru. A thin layer of red chakra surrounded his form. Orochimaru chuckled as he easily blocked and dodged all of Naruto's attacks, making the blonde more angry at him. The blonde jumped back as he prepared to make another Rasengan, in hopes of wiping that smile off. However, the snake man quickly appeared in front of him, and delivered a sharp kick to his chin, sending him upwards. Orochimaru quickly sent his tongue out to grab Naruto's leg, and sent him crashing to the floor below. Naruto heard a sharp crack as his vision blurred, and couldn't find himself to make a noise out of pain. Kukuku Naruto, you knew better than to attack me, Orochimaru said as he slowly walked up to the young blonde. Now what's stopping me from killing you right now? The blonde spit blood out to the side as best as he could, before letting out a dark chuckle as he laid against the hard dirt. I can't see it because of my good looks, so I'll go with my charming humor. Haha. Orochimaru looked at him confusingly. This attitude of the boy seems new. What's the change of attitude, boy? Is it because you're facing death? That your dream of being Hokage is over? He reached down his throat and pulled out his sword. Well, the real reason is that I'm going to die a virgin. At least that sword gets more action than I do. Naruto chuckled before flinching in pain. So what are you waiting for? For me to get naked? Just kill me already. Orochimaru grinned before driving his sword down into Naruto's heart. Flashback ended, or at least what should have been my heart. The blonde womanizer grinned out, enjoying the looks of confusion from the Jounins and Hokage. I should have in all honesty died that day, but sir, plushie in my tummy didn't feel like dying that day. Naruto, Tsunade slowly said as she got over her shock. What did the fox do? Flashback. 4 years ago, the large crimson fox growled angrily as water splashed all over Naruto's minset. That damn human snake. I shall rip him apart before devouring that shitty head of his. It yelled and the area started to get darker. Naruto sat down and leaned against the bars with his eyes closed. I don't know why you're losing your shit. Death doesn't seem that bad. Besides, I should be the one angry if anything. I mean, you got to live for a long ass time while I only had 14 years. He mumbled, which only seemed to get the fox angrier. You're an idiot. I do not wish to die a part of you. I do not wish to die. Here. With each punctuation, the fox lost all of its power in a last-ditch effort, causing the room they were in to be flooding in red light. Alright, princess, Naruto said mockingly as he stood up to see the red light was quickly being dwarfed by the darkness. He got up and looked at the seal that held the fox. If you wanted to get out that badly, all you had to do was say please. Flashback ended. Now everyone looked at Naruto in shock, confusion, and surprise, yet they couldn't seem to make one of the emotions stay on their faces. And Naruto, why you Kakashi started. Let the Kyuubi no Kitsune, the damn thing that almost ruins your village, go. Yes, I was hoping you got the damn hint. He said nonchalantly as he scratched his scruff, wishing he had some alcohol or women know both. Do you not realize what you did? Kakashi practically yelled, his book forgotten in his hands. His sensei and his wife didn't die, sealing the Kyuubi away for some blonde punk to uncaringly let it free. Naruto just raised an eyebrow before grinning. Of course I do, because I can do this. He pointed at a harmless tree only for a stream of fire to be released on the tree. Within a few seconds the tree was left blackened and toppled over. Or this. He stomped his foot on the ground as a large piece of earth sprouted and flew at another tree. It crashed into the tree, leaving a nice size imprint on it. Or should I show you this? He clenched his fist as pure lightning surrounded it. He grinned before throwing the ball of lightning at the same tree, causing a mini explosion that left yet another tree blackened and burned. He readjusted his jacket and turned around to see the Jounins almost have their jaws on the ground. Kyuubi didn't leave without paying its rent. A few hours later, we now find our favorite blonde womanizer taking a stroll through Konoha's marketplace. You know, looking for some groceries, maybe going clothes shopping for a bit. Oh, who are we kidding? He was currently finding some chick to F and possibly crash at her house for the night, until a suitable living arrangement was made. Well, I could always go back to Kurenai-chan. However, strange enough, the blonde didn't want to bother the crimson-eyed beauty, especially after his little show earlier. Naruto sighed to himself. It shouldn't be that difficult to find someone, especially with how some of the looks the women were giving him. Yet he couldn't find it in him to go to these women. He pinched his nose in frustration and slight pride. Kurenai had set a high standard, and his body and mind were fighting to keep it. Damn body. Damn that sexy vixen. Naruto muttered, but was brought out of his thoughts by a body crashing into him. If it hadn't been thanks to his strength and durability, Naruto was sure they would have fallen backwards. He grabbed the feminine body to quickly stop them from falling, and gazed into a pair of lavender orbs. Well, hello there, Hinata. He said with a mischievous grin. Hey there, Naruto-kun. Oh, he was going to have fun with her. Her face blushed a bright red, and Naruto mildly wondered if her head was going to explode, yet that didn't stop the grin that remained on his face. Sorry. She whispered as she finally looked at their position. It's quite alright. I just hope that you're alright. My body has been known to be hard in some places. He said slowly and huskily before internally laughing at his innuendo. Naruto's comment made her, if it was even possible, blush harder before he let go of her, but still remained flushed up against her. Damn, you certainly went from cute to sexy in these past 4 years. What do you say we? His eyes traveled down before looking her in the eye. Catch up. That's when he smelt it. His eyes actually darkened in lust as he smelt Hinata's arousal and barely held in the sensual growl in his throat. As for poor Hinata, her gentle mind couldn't take Naruto's flirting or his muscular body pressed against her. So she fainted with Naruto quickly catching her. Well, this is certainly not the first time this happened. He chuckled. Hinata. Hinata, where did you Naruto? Naruto perked up when he heard his name and turned to see Kiba, a huge-ass Akamaru, and a hooded Shino. Kiba's eyes were shocked before he saw the passed-out girl in the blonde man's arms. Damn, why does she always do that around you? Naruto just shrugged and handed her gently over to Kiba. We were having a very friendly conversation before she fainted. And who said that bullshitting was dumb? Hope she's okay and not sick. Kiba waved it off. She'll wake out of it soon. He paused before sniffing the air. I wonder what that sweet smell is. Naruto sniffed the air before shrugging, but internally he was laughing his ass off. Kiba shook his head as he hoisted Hinata on his back. Well, we'll have to catch up sometime later. I better get her home. It was nice seeing you. Likewise you too, Shino. Naruto waved out to the hooded shinobi who nodded in his direction before following after his teammates. Naruto sniffed the air again before growling softly. Oh shit. He mumbled aggressively as he jumped on the rooftops and took off in one certain direction. Kurenai's apartment. Kurenai as her body laid flat on her bed as she held her face in her pillows and thought. After Naruto's evaluation, if you can call it one, the blonde ran off muttering something about needing a drink. However, she knew it meant he was just going to F some other woman. Kurenai groaned as she buried herself deeper in her pillows. That's the problem here. She didn't know why the thought of the blonde champion sleeping with another woman extremely bothered her. She shouldn't care, it wasn't none of her business, and Naruto was not her boyfriend or lover. They were two people who just happened to F each other. So there should be no strings attached, right? The thought bothered her so much that she actually had to call team training and bonding off under the lie that she wasn't feeling good. Which in reality she sort of didn't. She just loved how her team was so understanding and even offered ways to help her feel better. Like how Hinata. Kurenai groaned, but this time it sounded heavily with guilt. Even though Naruto had a point that she shouldn't delay her own happiness, the crimson-eyed beauty still felt like she betrayed Hinata's trust by sleeping with her crush not once but twice. And to top it all off, she doesn't mind doing the deed a couple of more times. She had to give it to the blonde man, he knew how to make her feel alive with a couple. The memories of the late morning and last night came to her. She didn't know where the blonde learned how to do the things that he does, but damn is he really good at them. I hope you're thinking about me, gorgeous. A husky voice growled out as he laid on top of her, mindful of his weight. Especially from what I smell. You came back. Kurenai couldn't help but be surprised. She expected him to move on to another girl, and act like what happened to them was a one-time thing. Naruto chuckled at her surprised voice as he snuggled into her neck and accidentally, well purposefully, grinded himself in her ass. Of course, why wouldn't I? Well, I thought you wouldn't move on to someone else. She muttered as she held in a moan. Naruto raised an eyebrow before falling at her side. Well, you set a high bar for me. He grinned as he saw her eyes roll. That and I really enjoyed your company, well when we're not busy. Now that was something she didn't expect, and Naruto chuckled again at her look. Surprised that I like to do more than drink, F and fight. He then looked at her in concern. But what's wrong, you look strange and not the sexy strange, more like the I messed up strange. By now Naruto pulled Kurenai onto his chest as she hesitantly began to rub circles on his chest. It's just that I can't help but feel like a huge dickhead for stealing me away from this unknown person. Naruto stated as he trailed a finger up and down her arm. He felt her knot into his chest and he grinned. Well, I know something that could take your mind off of it. He said sensually, which Kurenai sighed. Can we please treat this like a serious subject, Naruto-kun? She then blushed at what came out of her mouth. Naruto-kun, eh? Seems like you enjoy our time together, Kurenai-chan. He said back before sighing. But to be serious for a second, I don't fancy the idea of someone claiming me when they haven't even made the effort to confront me. I mean, with you we at least talked. Sure, I might be a bit of a womanizer, but consider how I feel about this. Naruto said with annoyance. Now, Kurenai looked up at him. What do you say we make this night fun and guilt-free? He wagged his eyebrows, which just made Kurenai roll her eyes before she connected. Maybe this isn't such a bad thing. Naruto stood in the Hokage's office with a bored expression, wishing he could be anywhere but here, and preferably with a certain crimson-eyed beauty. After his evaluation and reinstatement, Tsunade decided to give Naruto a couple of more days to adjust before taking up missions once again. Of course, during that time, Naruto had to buy Kurenai a new couch, kitchen table, and bed twice. Kurenai threatened to cut him off for a few days if any more of her furniture get ruined during their lovemaking, but does he regret it? Hell no. He groaned as he scratched his scruff. Can we speed this up? I mean, the sooner you give us a mission, the sooner I'll be back home. He dodged the thrown paperweight and couldn't help but grin. Unless you want me to stay longer. Tsunade just growled at him as a light pink tint came to her cheeks. Shut the hell up, Naruto. Tsunade hated how easily the blonde idiot can get her to blush, and she officially stopped herself from calling the womanizer a brat. She learned her lesson last time. Sakura gave Naruto a look of slight disgust, as Kakashi chuckled behind his book. What's the hurry, Naruto? Got a special someone waiting for you. The copy nin, after mulling it over with a bottle of sake, eventually forgave the blonde. After all, if it hadn't been for him releasing the Kyuubi, Naruto wouldn't be here alive and making things enjoyable again. Actually, yes. And I would much rather be with her indulging myself than here listening to our hot Hokage read off missions. He crossed his arm as he gave the still blushing Hokage a pleading look. Can we get a mission where I could kill someone? I'm going through murder withdrawal here and sex is not helping. Sakura just looked at Naruto in shock, as her mind still couldn't believe his new change in attitude. He turned into a lewd pervert, plus he's a drunkard. The man doesn't even look in her direction anymore with that goofy grin he had when they were younger. Ever since the search mission, he avoided her like the plague, and well, she slightly missed the attention. Fine. Tsunade exclaimed as she threw her hands up. If it'll make you shut up. She missed the mischievous grin that made its way to his face. They almost make this too easy. Well, Tsunade, there are many things that could make me shut up. He growled, but that turned into laughter when a scroll smacked him in the face. Oh, how he enjoyed the way he could make even the strongest and hardened women flustered. Take this mission and get the hell out of my office. She threw the mission scroll to Kakashi before specially looking at a grinning Naruto and pointing to the door. She gave the man a glare that promised all types of pain if he didn't shut up. Naruto snickered as he held his hands up in mock surrender. The atmosphere completely vanished when a frantic Shizun burst through the doors. Tsunade-sama, the Kazukiage has been kidnapped. An hour later, so you're telling me Gaara managed to get the top bossman position? Naruto said as the newly reinstated Team 7 rushed through the trees towards Suna. Well damn, my boy is finally moving up in the world. He said jokingly as he wiped an imaginary tear from his face. I remember when he was this tall and didn't know how to change his own diaper. Damn it, Naruto, can you take the mission seriously? Sakura scolded with a frown. Naruto was treating this as a light matter when the Kazukiage of Suna got captured by the Akatsuki group. It especially didn't help when the blonde kept firing off jokes. Naruto just rolled his eyes. That depends, will you shut that trap of yours for more than an hour? He then grinned. Or should I get good old Yu-chan to do it for me? Sakura glared at Naruto, feeling the chakra go into her fists. Want me to reconstruct that damn face, she threatened, and Naruto laughed. Oh please, by all means try. He turned his head to the side and pointed at his right cheek. Why don't you start right here? It needs a bit of a touch-up. Naruto, Sakura. That's enough. Kakashi said sternly. We are on a very important mission, and I don't need you two screwing it up because of conflicting interests. However, Sakura is right, you need to get serious about this mission, Naruto. The blonde womanizer scoffed. You make it seem like I don't care about one of my closest friends. He, for the first time since he came back to Konoha, glared darkly at Sakura. She flinched at the look and closed her mouth from saying anything. In fact, I'm livid right now, and unless you want to stop raging Naruto, I suggest you let me continue on making jokes. I was dead serious when I said that I'm going through murder withdrawal. He then stopped and sniffed the air. We have company, and from what I can smell, she's a friend. Soon enough Team 7 managed to catch up to one Sabaku Tamari, and Naruto couldn't help the devious smirk that came to his face. Yo. Tamari, long time no see. He called out as he moved next to her. Tamari had to blink a couple of times. Naruto. The man grinned and Tamari could stop her eyes from wandering over his body. Damn, those 4 years did more than justice on the younger blonde. Her eyes pretty much stayed on the light-tamed beard on his face, but slightly hid his adorable whiskers. Are you guys on a mission or something? She almost absent-mindedly. Yes, and unfortunately it's not a good one. Kakashi said as that brought Tamari back to earth to see Naruto grinning and sending a wink her way. The Kazuki-age guard Dono has been kidnapped by the Akatsuki. And there goes Kakashi killing the mood. What? She screamed. When? How? Last night, from the reports, 2 members of the Akatsuki attacked the village and managed to capture guard Dono. Kakashi sighed out as the group ran faster, no thanks to Tamari. The silver-haired nin looked up at the darkening sky and sighed again. It's getting late, so we should stop and rest before crossing over. We can still go on. There's still daylight. Tamari pleaded before her hand softly landed on her shoulders. She looked up to see a grinning Naruto as she felt some of worries decrease a little. Tamari, there's no use fighting the Akatsuki if we're exhausted. He then let go of her shoulders before eyeing her up and down with a smirk, causing the sandy blonde to blush a little. She wasn't used to being looked at in a sexual manner, especially by a guy she found attractive, but why don't we? Tamari, do you mind helping me set up my tent? Sakura called out as she and Kakashi began to get their camp ready for the night. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the pink-headed woman, as Tamari slowly nodded and went over to help. She's not. Naruto whispered in denial as he went to help Kakashi. So how are you and Shikamaru? Sakura said loud enough for everybody to hear her as Tamari gave her a confused look. She is. Naruto muttered as he frowned at his teammate. That cockblocker. If there's one thing that annoyed Naruto to no end, it is cockblockers. They block all the fun and have a bad habit of not minding their own business. We're just friends though. Nothing really serious, the bastard's too lazy to start anything. Tamari said back though not as loud and Naruto smirked from his spot. Later on that night, Tamari sprang up from her sleeping bag in cold sweat before rubbing her head. Damn it. She whispered as she clenched her fists. This was the second time she woke herself up because of a bad dream of her brothers. Being the oldest and not having any parents, their sibling bond went deeper than any normal bond. And she damn sure could feel it. Tamari sighed sadly as she got out of her tent. Are you good? A voice called out from above, making Kunoichi jump in surprise. Naruto jumped down from his perch on a tree and landed in front of her. He chuckled softly seeing her tense form. Well, someone seems tense. I would suggest sleeping on your back, I heard it's better for you. He said jokingly. Well, sorry for feeling like I'm failing my family. She snapped before sighing deeply. Sorry. I didn't mean to sound that harsh. Naruto held up a hand to stop her as he smiled softly and genuinely. No, it's okay. I'm just being an ass to block off the fact that I'm about as worried and angry as you. Tamari gave the man a shocked look before shaking her head. Of course, Gaara and Naruto had a close relationship. In fact, Gaara would always say that they were the same. Tamari then decided to go on a lighter, seeing how she was not going back to sleep anytime soon. So where have you been for the past 4 years? She said as she leaned on a tree and crossed her arms with a small smile. Oh, you know, killing, the usual, but this time in Tsuchi. He said nonchalantly and Tamari rolled her eyes. Yeah, sure, and Shika is the most productive ninja in Konoha. Naruto let out a chuckle at her joke and put his hands up. I'm telling the truth here. I was having the time of my life in Tsuchi. He then rubbed his scruff and thought. Well, I think I was. Tamari gave the man a look. So white Tsuchi. Naruto shrugged before grinning. Didn't want the Leaf Village to know where I was. Now, here's my question, you got a boyfriend? The next morning, Team 7 plus Tamari finally made it to the walls of Suna with little problems. Well, if you count the argument between Sakura and a grumpy Naruto. Somehow Naruto and Tamari's conservation moved to inside Tamari's tent. Unfortunately, nothing worth noting happened, just Naruto helping Tamari fall asleep. However, Tamari must have had a really good dream because Naruto was awoken by the overwhelming smell of her arousal. It would have been easier to leave her tent, but the Sandy Kunoichi had a death grip on him and was grinding herself onto him. Long story short, Naruto had to tough through the rest of the night with a bad case of blue balls and internal turmoil. Damn Kyuubi F with his heightened sense and pheromones. So imagine Sakura's surprise when she saw a grumpy Naruto walk out of Temari's tent mumbling about blue balls. So this led to them arguing about on a mission and with a teammate no less. For the last time. We did not F Naruto growled out as he crossed his arms and tried his best to block out his annoying teammate. Yeah right. You're a dog who just likes to hump on every female leg he sees. Sakura said back as the group walked up to the gates. Oh please don't get your panties in a twist just because I would and will not F you. And Temari already said that nothing happened in the damn tent, so leave it alone for F's sake. He snapped back and Sakura actually closed her mouth and looked away from the blonde man with a scowl. After getting checked by the guards at the gates, they immediately went straight to the hospital where Kankuro, Temari and Gaara's brother, was due to his injuries. They walked in the room to see him lying practically comatose in a bed, and Temari teared up while Naruto whistled. Well shit, those Akatsuki really did a number on you bro. He then placed a comforting hand on Temari's shoulder, and she looked back at him with a small smile. Sakura's hands were engulfed in green chakra as she ran her hands over Kankuro's body. You might not be totally useless at all. Naruto mumbled low to himself. The poison in his body is attacking his vitals, mostly his respiratory and nervous systems. If we don't act now, he'll only have a day or two left. Sakura lifted her hands of the poisoned shinobi, and looked at a medical nin. Have you guys got to work on an antidote? The medical nin sadly shook their heads, and Sakura sighed to herself. I think I may know a solution. Naruto said with a hand raised. Why don't we, and stay with me here, kill him. Put him out of his, he took a glance at Kankuro. Silent misery. I'm not going to let anyone kill my brother. Temari yelled, and Naruto raised both of his hands in mock surrender. And that's the perfect attitude we need at this moment. He grinned out and looked around at the nins who gave him a wary look. So what are you guys waiting for? A personal strict show. Get to work finding an antidote. You heard Prude and Young over here, we don't have much time. In fact Forever a Virgin should assist you. I mean she wasn't trained by Tsunade for shits and giggles. Sakura frowned at the nicknames as the rest of the medical nins broke out of their momentary shock, and led Sakura out to their herbal greenhouse. That was unorthodox. Kakashi said as he looked up from his book. Only when I'm sober. Naruto said as he looked over to a worried Temari. Don't worry Temari, I trust that Tsunade trained Sakura well. Your brother will be back up in no time. But in the meantime we need to figure out where these punks went with Gaara. The next day, it was well into late morning when they, being Sakura, finally made a cure for the comatose shinobi. There. Sakura said as she wiped away some sweat on her forehead. He should be fine now and hopefully he'll give us some insight on where they might have taken Gaara. Temari was silent, but gave the pink-haired a nod, and also a thankful look. Kakashi placed a hand on Sakura's shoulder. Good work Sakura, rest now. He smiled at her. Yes, Kakashi-sensei. The room was oddly silent, and Sakura looked around. Where's the idiot? Getting a drink or two, damn. You want to follow me when I take a piss too? Naruto stumbled in with a sake bottle in his hand as he slumped down in a chair and took a swig. Damn, no wonder everyone here has a stick up their asses, your alcohol sucks. I should have gone with water in disappointment because I taste no difference. Sakura clenched her fist in anger. What the hell? Were you seriously drinking during such a delicate mission? Kami, you should have stayed in Konoha seeing how you're absolutely no help. Naruto scoffed and looked down at the bottle. But like I said Kakashi you should really try this cause I know I'm not going crazy. It's like everything I drink tastes like water. How can a guy get shit-faced on water? Are you Kononins always this loud? Came a shaky reply from Kankuro as he slowly opened his eyes and got up before grunting in pain. Temari quickly ran to his side and gave him a small hug. Don't celebrate yet, we need to get Gaara back. But I already bought the drinks. Naruto grinned out as he lightly swung the bottle. Maybe a little celebration is called for. Kakashi and Temari shook their heads, while Sakura gave the still grinning blonde a glare. Kankuro just blinked twice. Whoa, it seems the blonde brat grew up. He grinned out and Naruto chuckled. I know something else that can grow up. He winked over to Temari who heavily blushed, but his grin was quickly replaced by a frown. Now since you're awake, I hope you can give insight on where they took Gaara. Check Karasu. And true to his word there was a piece of cloth the Kankuro must have snagged from one of the members. Good work. Kakashi was prepared to make the hand signs for a summon when Naruto interrupted him. You know one of the good things about letting Fleabag go is that my senses are heightened. Now can I see that cloth? He ignored Sakura's confused look as he took a quick sniff before gagging. Holy shit. This thing smells like ass and explosions. But whatever, let's go while it's still fresh. He grimaced before handing it back to Kakashi. I'm coming with you guys. Temari said as she gripped a giant ass fan on her back. As much as I would love for you to come, Sakura's disgusted frown and Temari's blush, you're too vital to the village, and we need to run it until we get Gaara back. He gave her a vulpine yet reassuring grin. Don't worry Temari, I'll bring Gaara back. She couldn't do anything but nod as a different kind of blush came to her face, and she avoided eye contact. Naruto sniffed the air and had to repress a growl. Damn it, focus, focus. I'll join you. An elderly voice called out as an old woman walked into the room. I know Sasori's work and it's best to have me on your side. Naruto, who was fidgeting, clapped loudly. Good, great, now let's go. He quickly walked out the room, leaving everyone to look at where he left with a confused look. Ah, it's nice to meet you, Kakashi trailed off. Lady Chiyo. In a dark cave, the body of an incapacitated guard was thrown to the ground as someone yawned loudly. Man, who knew hunting was tiresome, was right, Sasori Dono. The large hulk of a figure grunted. Do make me lose the little amount of patience I have, Tadara. Tadara chuckled nervously. You should take it easy. Our main job is completed. The mission with the Ichibi is completed. A voice of authority called out as 7 other figures appeared in the cave. Good. We must hurry and extract it. Suddenly the ground started to shake as a huge statue appeared, and each member stood on a finger. There was one spot missing. Now stand and be still. The leader said as he shot a glare towards a certain member. Yeah, I gotcha. The blue stream of chakra came out of the statue's open mouth and engulfed Gaara in it. A beige color energy began to come out of the Kazekage and into the mouth of the statue. The members internally sighed. It was going to be a long few days. So anyone wants to play I Spy? Yep, a long few days. A day later. With Naruto, are you even positive that we're going the right way? Naruto took in a deep breath as he focused on the scent they were using to track down the Akatsuki members. Like I never remember you even being a tracker anyways. Things have changed, Sakura, and I trust Naruto knows exactly what he's doing. Kakashi quickly said as the blonde womanizer shot him a thankful yet annoyed look. The Konohanins are very unorthodox to say the least. Lady Chiyo piped up and Naruto rolled his eyes. Oh, I'm sorry, are we not up to your standards? He sarcastically asked and Lady Chiyo actually nodded. Well, you can take those standards and shove it. Naruto, show some respect to your elders. Sakura scolded as she frowned at him. Or were manners not a thing in Tsuchi? Look everyone, I have my own personal mother. You mind giving me a bedtime story when I go to bed, mommy? Naruto said as he rolled his eyes again before stopping completely. What is Naruto? Kakashi asked as he became tense. They all jumped down into a clearing with everybody becoming tense. Well, except for Naruto, he just had his arms crossed with a frown on his face as he looked at one particular spot. I can smell you, you know. So this hiding shit is pointless and a waste of my time. Naruto called out. A figure stepped into the clearing as Sakura gasped and Kakashi glared. Naruto grinned and placed his hands in his pockets. Well, if it isn't Mr. Psychopath himself. How's the family? Hello, Naruto-kun. Itachi said with a frown. I see you've grown up. He then gave Kakashi a slight nod, ignoring the hateful glare the one-eyed nin sent at him. Yeah, you know I've been working out, checking my diet and killing assholes on my shite list. The womanizer then chuckled. Turns out you're at the top of this list along with the snake. Seems like Papa's going to have a good day. And with that he quickly appeared in front of Itachi with a fist cocked back. Itachi caught the fist and threw the blonde over his shoulders. Naruto landed on his feet and brushed his jacket. The blonde then stomped on the ground as a piece of earth under Itachi sprouted up hoping to skewer the Uchiha. Unfortunately Itachi easily dodged the attack and gave Naruto a confused yet slightly impressed look. New techniques. A new jacket too. Naruto said he swiped his hand, and a wave of fire rushed at the Uchiha who used the Kawarimi to quickly be replaced by a log. You know, I don't like this game of tag. So start fighting me back or I'm going to get very angry. He then formed a finger gun with his hand and closed one eye. But I'm sure you're into that. Bang. Suddenly a fireball fired out from Naruto's fingers, and Itachi narrowly avoided the explosion that quickly happened afterwards. In fact his robe was burnt off on the left side, and Itachi frowned. Rikiri. Itachi hissed as the attack scratched his side. He held his side and dodged a fist from Sakura that created a crater. So she figured out Tsunade's strength. Naruto mumbled before smirking. Her usefulness is certainly increasing. He then held a hand out as fire surrounded it. He then punched the ground as the earth split open to release a huge fire yet muddy hand that actually managed to grab the Uchiha. Gotcha, you slippery bastard. Naruto smirked as he saw Itachi's pained face. I'll have to say, Naruto-kun, you're much stronger than any of us had envisioned. Itachi said through gritted teeth. I wonder if you'll be this stronger when we actually fight. Naruto smirked from his spot, his hand deep into the ground, as the fiery hand around Itachi gripped tighter. Just swing by Konoha, and I would be more than happy to show you all my techniques. The large hand crushed the nin before he could say anything else, leaving a bloody crushed mess. Naruto took his hand from the ground as the large hand disappeared, and the bloody glob fell down with a wet splat. Sakura looked away in disgust as she tried to hold in her breakfast. Kakashi gave Naruto a worrisome look. With the way that conversion was going, that wasn't the real Itachi. Naruto wiped his jacket from any dirt that got on it and cleared his throat. Of course not. Do you really think you would still be conscious? Kakashi's look hardened and Naruto sighed. Like this Itachi, he pointed to the glob. Didn't even have his Sharingan activated, much less was dodging like a bitch. He was trying to buy time. Lady Chiyo said and Naruto raised an eyebrow with a smile. I'm glad Granny could get it. A few hours later, a cave. Seriously. Like these guys could have got trapped within a castle guarded by hot-ass models. And these assholes picked a dusty, dirty cave. Naruto said as they finally made it to a blocked-off cave where the trail turns cold. The point is to remain hidden. Kakashi deadpanned and Naruto waved him off. The silver-haired Jounin then sighed. There's a seal on the boulder and taking a guess, it wouldn't be smart to take it off. Naruto scratched his scruff in thought before knocking on the boulder. Yo, anyone in there? Listen, I just want my friend back and I'll leave your home in peace. Or pieces. Whichever you prefer. Not hearing an answer, Naruto shrugged and ignored the looks he got from his teammates. Is the boy alright mentally? Lady Chiyo whispered. It's an ongoing debate. Sakura mumbled. Naruto walked up the boulder and squatted to take a look at the seal. After a few minutes he sighed before nodding to himself and jumping down. Well, I know for a fact that peeling off the seal requires the removal of possible other seals connected to it. If I were to guess, there are 4 other seals. Kakashi, my eternal rival. Came the yell from no other than Guy as his team appeared in front of Team 7, plus Lady Chiyo. Oh hey Guy. Kakashi said lazily despite the situation, and Guy looked at his rival before yelling out his hipness. Sakura sighed and shook her head. Hey, shouldn't we be? Ah, Sakura-chan, I hope everything is well. Lee said excitedly as he stood in front of her, earning an eye twitch from the pink-haired woman. Niji was just silent and gave the area a quick scan. Naruto gave them all an annoyed look before his eyes laid on the only female of Team 9, Bingo. He mumbled before softly clearing his throat and making his way over to Tenten. Well, so far no one bothered to say hi to me, so I guess we're all on a good start. But for you not to greet me, Tenten, oh it aches my heart. He said dramatically, which made Sakura roll her eyes, and Tenten giggled. Sorry Naruto, but welcome back. She blushed slightly when Naruto gave her a look of hunger. Wish we could celebrate but under better circumstances. She nervously joked and Naruto chuckled as he got closer to her. Ah, and by celebrating I hope you mean me and you with Konoha's finest bottle of sake. He said with a devious grin before he got closer to her ear. I would be more than happy to show you what I've learned over the years. He whispered as Tenten blushed a bright red. Shouldn't we worry ourselves with Kazukichi? Niji pointed out, and Naruto gave the nin a mocking grin. But of course. The blonde womanizer said as he gave Tenten a grin. Sakura frowned as she tried to ignore hyperactive Lee and send the blonde a threatening glare. Naruto just laughed at the attempt to intimidate him. Niji is right. Kakashi said as he rounded the group together. Speaking of which, Niji can use your Byakugan to see where the other seals are if Naruto's assumptions are correct. Niji nodded. Byakugan. He looked around before pointing in 4 directions. There are 4 at least a mile away, hiding in plain sight. Right? Guy practically yelled. Kakashi, my team will take care of these seals. Your team should be prepared to face our youthful opponents. He said as he gave the copy nin a bright smile and a thumbs up. Sounds like a plan, Guy. We'll wait 10 minutes after you leave to destroy the boulder. Kakashi said and Guy nodded before he and his team disappeared. After waiting the time limit, Kakashi quickly nodded over to Sakura. She grinned and cocked her fist back before destroying the boulder into small pebbles. The team quickly ran inside to see 2 figures. One was a blonde man that sat on top of an unmoving Gar. The other was a big hunched-over man who only had his eyes showing. Gar. Naruto whispered before gritting his teeth and clenching his fist. Well, if it isn't Kyuubi. The blonde man said with a grin. Funny to be seeing you here. Naruto chuckled as his fangs became more pronounced and his eyes got darker. Yeah, but you know what's funnier? When I rip that head clean off your body. Sakura looked at Naruto in slight fear before something registered in her brain. Wait, Kyuubi, Naruto has the inside of him. Idara chuckled at the threat as he stood up. Itachi said you've become stronger or something like that. He then made a huge bird from his clay and grabbed Gar. Come back to that claim. And with that he quickly flew out of the hideout. I hate playing tag. Naruto growled as he turned around to chase him. Wait, Naruto. Kakashi tried to stop him but was surprised and shocked at what he saw. Naruto was floating and running in midair. A layer of green energy covered the bottom of his shoe as the blonde ran through the air like he would on the ground. He looked back in the cave and Sakura gave him a small smile. We got this, Kakashi-sensei. Just make sure the pervert doesn't get himself killed, she said as she focused back on Sasori. Kakashi nodded and quickly went to chase after his raged student. Lady Chiyo glared. It's been a while since Sasori. The same could be said to you, Chiyo-chan, the years don't look good for you. What Idara? Idara whistled a tune as he laid back on his bird. Not worried at all seeing how he lost the brat in the thick foliage of the forest. Only problem was his missing arm from the other nin, but he seemed to lose him too. His eyes then went to the dead body on his bird. Seeing no use for it, the blonde nin supposed he could drop it in the forest below. Hey, mind if you can take me on a magic ride? Idara only had a second to think before a fist buried itself into his cheek, sending him flying off. His body wasn't responding with his movements, and blonde nin cursed as he slammed into the forest. Naruto stood on the bird and picked up Gar. Shittier-eyed, now that I think of it. He jumped off not before sending a fireball, and made the clay art explode. Now to deal with the shitty Akatsuki member. He gently set guard down, and made his way over to the down body of Dadar. Naruto stopped as his eyes narrowed. Really? The body turned out to be a clay clone, and Naruto felt his anger rising. Oh, you're poking a very angry bear. The blonde snarled out before dodging a piece of clay which exploded in his face. The blonde felt something drip on his cheek, and sure enough it was blood, his own blood. Okay, going for the face. Huge mistake. He slammed his hand on the ground before grinning. Found you. He then chucked a huge fireball at a tree before throwing one at a bush. The two plants easily burned and Naruto growled. Now that I think about it, I really hate hide and seek too. He then sent another ball of fire at a tree. Come on out, I have a cookie. He then stomped on the ground as the whole area shook and spikes sprouted out from the ground and fanned out, being mindful of the Kazekage. The curse ranged out, and Naruto smelled the scent of blood. Game over. He held out a finger as fire and lightning swirled around his finger till it formed a white ball. The ball got bigger till the size of a human head. White wisps expelled from the ball and the area got brighter, almost annoyingly so. I'm going to give you till the count of 3 to come out, or else I'm going to play God for a little bit. No reply, and the ball got a bit bigger. 1, 2. Naruto then unleashed the ball towards the tree Dadara was hiding at. The explosion would have expanded into the skies and been heard for miles, probably even in Konoha had Kakashi not warped it, and whatever was in its path away. The only thing left was a vacant crater. Naruto looked at the spot for a moment. What the hell, Kakashi? He snarled as he turned to give his former sensei a heated glare. I should be asking you that, Naruto. Kakashi glared back before he collapsed on the hard ground. Kurenai sighed in irritation as she plopped down in an empty seat. Well, someone's a bit moody. A feminine voice called and Kurenai looked up to see her friend Yuzuki Yuako, giving her a look of concern. Tough day? Another voice said that it belonged to one Inizuka Hana, another friend of hers. Hana's face then turned into one of annoyance. Was it my mud brother? Kurenai just shook her head and poured herself a cup of tea. No, I'm just a lot more tired and irritable as of late. She took a sip of tea and sighed as her body relaxed a bit. Are you taking on too many missions? I mean, I know your track record is almost perfect, but it isn't worth overworking your body. Yuago said as she took a sip from her own drink. Hana nodded in agreement. Oh, I'll tell you what's up in her panties. Enko proclaimed as she took her seat with a bottle of sake. Or should I say what's not in her panties? The snake mistress said with a perverted grin. Not now, Enko. Kurenai said as she pinched the bridge of her nose in annoyance, though a slight blush crawled on her face. Hana and Yuago looked at each other in confusion and then back at Enko, who was grinning and wagging her eyebrows. Kurenai, Yuago started with a small grin. Kurenai looked back at her two friends before blushing in slight embarrassment. Who's a special guy? Hana finished with an impish grin, and Kurenai blushed a brighter color. What? No one. She stuttered out as her eyes quickly looked away from her friends. Enko is just playing around. She shot a quick glare at those who just continued to grin at her. Nai-chan is going through dick withdrawal. Enko said as she took a sip from her cup. What? Hana and Yuga yell rocked the shop, and Enko couldn't hold in her laughter as she saw the all-compassed Yuhi Kurenai trying to shrink herself in her chair. How are you not going to tell us, Kuro-chan? Hana whined out. We promised to hold nothing between us. Yuago said in a voice that definitely contrasted with her quiet and calculative personality. Is he handsome? Is he a shinobi? How muscular is he? What are his moral values? Does he have a big package? Kurenai was almost overwhelmed with the questions until Hana said the last one and her face glazed over a bit as a blush dark enough to rival her eyes came on her face. Hana saw the look and slumped back into her seat with a whistle. Well, damn Kuro-chan. Who's the lucky guy? Kurenai shook out of her mini daydream and chose not to say anything. Enko snickered and the crimson-eyed beauty shot her another glare. Oh no, you do not choose to be quiet in this situation. Yuago said as she crossed her arms. So, is he? Her eyes then got wide. You played hide the sausage with Asuna, didn't you? No? Kurenai answered with a slight guilty look that thankfully no one caught. Look, I need to get ready for a team meeting, so I'll catch up with you guys later. And with that Kurenai quickly shunshed away before her friends could say anything more embarrassing. Hana pouted as Yuago looked at Enko. Enko. Yuago made the snake mistress grin. Well, of course I know who it is, but where's the fun in telling you? Bye girls. She too disappeared, leaving two annoyed and pouting Kinoichis. With Naruto glared at Kakashi, who returned the glare from his spot on the ground. You just let an Akatsuki member, people who are after my ass, go. The blonde said as he glared hardened. These bastards killed Gar, and you ruined my chance for revenge. He gritted his teeth as fire and lightning surrounded his fist. Then as quickly as it came, it all disappeared and Naruto sighed in annoyance. Great, I ruined my jacket for this bullshit. Naruto, I felt the energy in that attack. Kakashi said tiredly. Were you trying to destroy the whole damn area? He yelled before groaning in pain. The blonde rubbed his scruff. If I said yes, would you be angry at me? He grinned sheepishly at the down nin who only looked at the man in confusion. But what's done is done and he's probably not dead, right? Kakashi sighed. I use Kamiya, so there's no telling where he's at. Though I also did it with your attack, so he's probably dead no matter what. Right now I can't feel a single thing. Naruto walked over with a grin. So you can't feel this? He kicked the nin in the side and received a harsh glare. Sorry. Though his grin said otherwise. Just checking for scientific purposes. My eternal rival. Has your flames of youth gone out? Naruto looked over and rolled his eyes. And there's the rest of our group. Late that night, Tsunade was in the mood of celebration. The Kazuki-ichi has returned thanks to the help of Konoha and the late Lady Chiyo. The usual quiet village was loud with the cheers and laughter of many villagers and children. Decorations were hung around and vendors sold gifts and novelties. Alright. Now we're talking. Naruto said with a big grin as chugged down a bottle of alcohol. I was thinking you guys had only piss and water to drink. He said with a chuckle as he wiped his mouth and swung the bottle. I shall not let Naruto-kun defeat me in this drinking challenge. Lee proclaimed as he tried to match Naruto in his drinking, which was humanly impossible. Niji looked at his teammate with annoyance as he calmly drank his tea. The bar the group was currently in was loud with music and laughter. Damn it, Lee. Be careful. Sakura scolded before an empty cup was thrown at her face. You're on a thin line, Naruto. She growled as she clenched her fist. The blonde only rolled his eyes. Oh, lighten up a bit and drink something, or should we change your profession to buzzkill? Haruno Sakura, the official buzzkill. I bet parents tell their kids not to have too much fun, or else they'll get visited by Sakura at night. Kankuro laughed with his own cup, and Gar's lips twitched upwards. Sakura growled as she got up and walked away, muttering something about perverted blondes and sleeping. The feeling is mutual, honey. Naruto called out jokingly before taking the last drops in the bottle. Your teammate is a buzzkill. Gar asked, and Naruto looked at him as he opened another bottle. Why does she kill the buzzes? Naruto almost spit out his drink as he held in his laughter while Kankuro snickered. It's a name for someone who hates fun, Gar. Kankuro said as Gar nodded in understanding. A hand slid over Naruto's chest, and both brothers were surprised to see their sister Temari leaning over a smirking Naruto. Well, speaking of fun, do you guys mind if I borrow Naruto for a little bit? Yeah. I promised Temari that I would show her one of my special techniques, yeah. And just like that, they both were gone in an eruption of fire. The other occupants in the bar looked at the spot before shrugging, and continued doing what they were doing. A special technique. Maybe we should go see it as well. Gar said with a confused look. I have a feeling that his technique should only be for Temari's eyes only. Temari's room. Naruto pushed Temari against her door. The next day, once again, I thank you for the help. Gar said as he clasped hands with Naruto. I'm forever in your debt. The blonde nin just waved him off. None of that professional shit, we're friends, brothers even. Gar nodded with a very small smile as he released Naruto's hands. Hope the journey back home isn't boring. Kankuro said as his grin came on his face. Especially since Temari isn't there. The shinobi was then smashed down on the ground by a blushing Temari. Shut the hell up, Kankuro. Naruto and Tenten chuckled as the rest of the Konoha ninja gained confused except Niji, because well, he's Niji. I'll be sure to stop by Suna every now and then. Naruto said as he winked at Temari. She smirked as her eyes raked over him and landed on Tenten. I'll make sure I'm not a stranger in Konoha. Tenten gave her a sensual look, and Naruto coughed as he sniffed the air. Alright Konoha, we go. He said as he began walking, knowing the Kazuki-ichi wouldn't like to see his sister being bent over and effed by him or Tenten. In some meeting room, a lone table stood in the middle of a well-lit room. On it was a map of the elemental nations and a couple of pieces. 6 people were present at the table, 3 on each side. I say we start right here. A large finger pointed at Aim no Kuni and placed a piece down. This will be our first wave. Nins we can do well without weak genins and chunins. Maybe civilians will trip them off. The occupants hummed in thought. Well, it would be a good idea if AIM wasn't so isolated from the world. A male voice said as he grabbed another piece and placed it on Mizuno Kuni. They have no affiliation with Konoha. In addition, the Mists will do well in hiding our troops, and Konoha would never expect it. You forget, Four Eyes, that they don't have an affiliation with us either, and will see this as an act of war. A gruff voice said as he grabbed his own piece before slamming it on Konoha. I say we forget this stupid useless wave strategy, and hit these weaklings dead on. May I remind you what happened last time I tried to do that? There's no yellow flash this time. Enough. The Tsuchikage said as he slammed both hands on the table and leaned over. We don't have time to bicker like children. Every day Konoha gets stronger and we're stuck planning. A pale finger gently grabbed a piece and placed it on Tetsu no Kuni. His yellow slitted eyes looked on with a small smile. You're right, time is something we don't have. 3 days later. Konoha. I see, well, excellent work everybody. You are all dismissed except for Naruto and Sakura. Tsunade said as Team 9-Sky. We took Kakashi to the hospital, nodded and left the room. Tenten winked and blew a kiss at Naruto, who just grinned and left the room. He heard a snort from Sakura and rolled his eyes. Oh, I'm sorry, is there a problem? He asked with fake concern. Cause the last time I checked, I don't have to report who I F to you. So you admit it then? Sakura said as she sent an accusing finger at the blonde. You had sex with Tenten while on a mission. Naruto rolled his eyes again as he scratched his beard. Well, for when the mission technically was over with. I mean, if you still want to report on that, I guess I could start with the way her tongue was practically wrapped around my. Alright, enough with the both of you. Tsunade tried to say sternly, but Naruto grinned at the pink dust that dusted her cheeks. Well, there's no rules against sleeping on a mission, it's still highly unprofessional. Boom. Naruto exclaimed with a grin. So I can F whoever I want, and you can finally hop off my metaphorical dick. Sakura frowned and looked away. Anyway, before he died, Sasori revealed that he had a spy in Orochimaru's ranks working for him. Sasori was supposed to meet up with this spy in 5 days at the Tenchi Bridge. Tsunade hummed in thought. It could be a great opportunity to get leverage on Iwa and that snake bastard. But who to send for this mission? She then focused back to the two nins. One was giving her a bored look, and the other was a hopeful one. Tsunade-sama, Sakura proclaimed as she straightened her back and gave the Hokage a serious look. I would personally like to volunteer for this mission. The blonde Hokage raised an eyebrow. Well, that was easy. She's a great medic, and with Orochimaru that means the Uchiha is involved, so she is better motivated than most. Tsunade nodded. Alright Sakura, you shall be a part of the ambush mission. They smiled widely, and both females turned to Naruto. What? The blonde asked before looking down and frowned. Yeah, I know my jacket is ruined. Now I have to buy a brand new one. Aren't you going to join the mission, Naruto? Sakura asked with a surprised look. Naruto scoffed. Yeah, F that. I would rather relax here in the village. Both Kunoichis couldn't believe what they heard. Well, Tsunade had a feeling. They might give us information on Sasuke-kun. Sakura said. Okay, and? Naruto said as he rolled his eyes. Why would I care about that psycho? Because he was your brother. You even said so. You promised that you would bring him back. Sakura screamed at him, and Naruto scratched his beard. You're right, I promise. And now I'm making a new promise. If I go on this mission and I see this asshole, I'm going to kill him. He said darkly, and Sakura was shocked into silence. He then gave Tsunade a fanged grin. Well then Tsunade, I guess you got another member on this ambush team. He gave Tsunade one last glance and walked out of the room. With Kurenai, of course not. You girls know Nai-chan loves guys with experience. A fine experience. Kurenai just sighed as she pinched the bridge of her nose. Ever since Hana and Yuago found out about her special friend, they have not stopped hounding her for information and his identity. To make matters worse, Anko, knowing damn well who is, kept giving them hints. She leaned her head onto her hand as she thought about him. The way he would tightly hold onto her as he whispered jokes and compliments into her ear. She was broken out of her thoughts by Anko tapping her on her forehead. What is Anko? She said with a glare as the snake mistress broke her out of her daydream. She then looked to see her three giving her an impish and devious smirks and grin. What you thinking about, Kur-chan? Hana almost sang as Kurenai's face darkened a bit. Is it your lover? Just shut up, Hana. Anko and Yuago snickered as Hana grinned and got whiter. I hope there isn't a problem over here. A husky voice called out behind Kurenai, and all four Kunoichis turned to see a grinning tall handsome bearded blonde man with whiskers. Sup Anko, Hana and Yuago. Yuago said almost absent-mindedly. Naruto's grin whitened before he looked at the last Kunoichi, as he took in a deep breath to sniff the air. Hello to you too, Kurenai. His voice sounded heavy with lust as his eyes darkened. Hey Naruto. Kurenai couldn't help the blush that crawled on her face as her eyes roamed his body hungrily. Making up her mind, she stood quickly and grabbed the man by his ear. We need to talk. She quickly said as she shunshed away. Anko grinned as she saw the other women still in their trance-like state. That was Uzumaki Naruto. Hana whispered and Yuago nodded as they both looked at Anko. Oh yeah, I definitely knew. Kurenai's apartment. So what do we need to talk about? She quickly crashed into him. Hokage's office. Tsunade. A voice croaked out, and just like that her daydream was ruined by two old bats. The buxom groaned in disappointment. What? She practically snapped back. What is this we're hearing of you letting that traitor on the ambush mission? Kahira spat out and Tsunade felt a headache coming along. He hasn't got a proper evaluation. Himeru said, and Tsunade groaned again. If your evaluation means having a Yamanaka looking through his mind, then no. He came back to help us with Iwa and Orochimaru, and if you're counting the fact that he left, then he's much of a traitor as the damn Uchiha. Tsunade said with a glare, and the two old advisors frowned. Fine, but seeing how you choose the two nins for the ambush mission, we will choose their teammate. Kahira pronounced, and Himeru nodded in agreement. Tsunade growled before nodding her head. Kahira grinned. Good, Danzo. Tsunade narrowed her eyes and frowned as the bandaged warhick slowly walked into the room. Of course they'll bring that bastard in here, but they forget that I get to choose the jounin. And some hideout, they report. Oh, they're dead. But you should see the area we found Tadara in. There's literally nothing left but a huge crater. The original voice hummed. Was Daidara's own doing? No, it was the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. I see, Itachi was correct then. The voice then cleared his throat. No matter, casualties are casualties. Start the retrieval of the Nibi and its Jinchuriki. The next day. Konoha, Asuma-sensei, what's up with you? For the past week you look like someone stole your cigs. Team 10's own Yamanaka Ino asked as she and her team were walking to their usual restaurant. And true to her words, Asuma looked sad and angry as both emotions swirled around his face. The troublesome blonde is right. Shikamaru called out lazily as he walked with his head behind his head. What got you so down? Maybe he hasn't been eating as much. Akamichi Chaoji said between munches of his chips as he offered his bag to the bearded dot. I'm fine, don't you worry guys. Yet this was the opposite of what he was feeling. Is it Kurenai-sensei? Damn that little minx. But true to her words, it was the crimson-eyed and her sudden absence from their relationship. Before they were enjoying each other's company and were the closest they ever were. But now he hasn't seen her talk to her in the past week, going on 2. He was worried until a rumor went around that she was with somebody, yet no names came up. He looked over at his blonde student before sighing and shaking his head. Is it that obvious? His shoulders slumped when all 3 of his students nodded to him. Great. He muttered. I mean you were happy and smiling, but the moment you haven't seen her in, like what, a week, you've become this sad depressed man. Ino said bluntly before rolling her eyes. Just go talk to her already. Shikamaru sighed and nodded in agreement. Yeah, your attitude is becoming troublesome. Everything is troublesome to you, you lazy bastard. Ino said with a tick mark. I know. Chaoji chuckled at his teammates before pointing at the shopping district. Isn't that Kurenai-sensei coming out of the shopping district? His 2 teammates and sensei whipped their heads around to find Kurenai with her arms crossed looking away from the blonde man that was walking next to her. He carried a box of some sort on his shoulders as he chuckled nervously. How many times do I have to apologize? Naruto asked with a grin. Besides, it's half your fault anyways. My fault? Kurenai looked back at him with a look. You encouraged me. He simply said as he adjusted the box for a new kitchen table on his shoulders. But don't worry, this one has metal support guards, so we're all good. Naruto chuckled nervously as Kurenai just crossed her arm and looked away to hide the blush on her face. Whoa, hey Naruto. The couple looked up to see Team 10, and someone Kurenai was trying her best to avoid. Well, I'll be damned. Naruto said as his eyes raked over Ino's form, before a quick glare from Kurenai made the womanizer quickly look over to Shikamaru. Oh great, now we have 2 troublesome blondes here. Shikamaru muttered and Naruto grinned. If that's your way of saying you miss me, then I miss you. Naruto chuckled. Sup Chaoji, still eating I see. The large man smiled widely and nodded as he stuffed his mouth again. And Ino, it's a great pleasure seeing you again. Ino just stood there in shock. She knew Naruto was back thanks to Sakura, but the woman never said how much of a hunk the man looked. The way he was holding the box made her wish she was in his place. Her eyes traveled down as they took in his muscular frame. Naruto chuckled as he poked her forehead. Are you okay there? She quickly squeaked and blushed a dark red. Hey Naruto. Hello Asuma-san. Kurenai said with a small smile and the bearded returned her one. Hey Kurenai-chan. He replied back, making Naruto raise an eyebrow as he looked between the 2. They aren't. The blonde thought in denial as he shifted the box. We should really back up Kurenai-chan. How about tonight at 8? Can we go to the restaurant we always went to? Asuma offered with a little push, literally, from his team. Oh shit. There well we're. Naruto thought with a grin as he looked at Kurenai's face. That sounds like a really good idea Asuma, but I promised Naruto-san that I would give him some training, and we would have to build me a new kitchen table. She muttered the last part and gave Naruto a look. The blonde man just coughed to keep from laughing. Oh, okay then maybe next time. He said dejectedly. What happened to your old kitchen table? It broke. Kurenai said simply before giving Asuma one last smile. Well we should be going. She nudged Naruto with her elbow who was currently staring Ino down with a hungry look. The blonde female was returning the gaze. Naruto-san. Kurenai said with what everyone thought was a warning, but to Naruto it was the sound of a whine. And who was he to deny his girl? Besides, it's not like that table was going to be fixed today. Of course Kurenai-sensei. She ignored the blush and walked past Team 10 with Naruto following behind her. Sorry about Kurenai-sensei. Chaoji said as he tried to soothe his down sensei as his teammates kept walking with Ino trance-like state. Yeah. Asuma said he looked behind him to see Naruto gripping Kurenai's ass and giving him a smirk of victory before they disappeared in a plume of smoke, missing the glare Asuma sent to him. I am too. Thanks for watching my video, leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. And make sure to check out the author of this fanfic, link is in the description. See you next time, till then sayonara.